What's going on, everybody? This is Catfish on Ice with Chad Minton and Rich Howe, your host.
What up? What up?
What's up, everybody? All right, we're here. It's our first episode since the NHL Draft Lottery.
Ooh, that's a
Yeah.
touchy subject. Touchy subject
indeed. We got to get into that for sure because although we knew that the Predators weren't going to land Connor Bedard because they won a little bit too much down the stretch. That's what everyone was talking about when all the young kids were out there winning games. Everyone was thinking, hey, Connor Bedard's out there, right? But you're not going to change me because I was thinking all down the stretch, I want to see this team win no matter what. So I didn't care. But the Predators had no say in getting the top pick. The highest they could get was number 5. That was a 0.5% chance. So they get the number 15 pick. We are going to react to that here in episode 184. But first of all, before we get into that and a lot of other stuff here tonight on Catfish on Ice, Rich, how are you doing, man?
Doing good. I'm watching Carolina Hurricanes put a beating on the Devils, 6-1. They scored 5 goals in like 10 minutes. So, Devils are hurting right now.
They are. And, I'm not going to do a shameless plug right now, but you know what? Actually, I am. You
should.
Carolina Hurricanes, my preseason Stanley Cup pick. Everybody, just throwing that out there. I'm feeling pretty good about it. There's still a lot of hockey left, guys. A lot of hockey. So I'm not going to get too confident here. But the Carolina Hurricanes, as much as I cannot stand their social media team, the team itself looks pretty damn good. And I don't know who's going to beat them.
They are good. I don't see anybody who can beat them. Justin Gambino's in here. He said, I shut that game off late second period. Yeah. I'm still watching it. I always watch them till the end usually, but man, that's rough.
Well, the New Jersey Devils are such a fun story in the whole league. I mean, they've
I like them.
We all kind of knew they were coming, but to go this far and they are going to be around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're a New Jersey Devils fan right now, even if you likely get eliminated by the Hurricanes in this second round series here, the Canes are probably going to be up 3-1. Even so, if you're a New Jersey Devils fan right now, let me tell you, you have a lot of reasons to be very optimistic right now. There's nothing to hang your head on right now.
Absolutely.
That team's gonna be around for a minute. They're gonna be around for a while. So
sure.
No reason to worry there.
Yep.
But
Nikki is in here as well. I just want to real quick. She said her the preseason was Dallas.
Well, that's fair and that's understood because she's not a closet Dallas Stars fan. She is a very outspoken Dallas Stars fan. No. She's also a Preds fan. You are allowed to have more than one team. We respect that. Dallas Stars about to drop the puck, or have they already?
No, it's getting ready. 13 minutes till puck drop.
Okay, so the last time we did an episode of Catfish on Ice, everybody, was game 1 of Kraken and Stars, and that game was bonkers.
Wow. Yeah.
So let's see what happens with this one when we're recording live.
Seattle, man.
Kraken, they're up 2-1 on the series right now. So we will see what happens. A lot of people jumping in here. We got Nikki and Justin both in. Let's see some of our other friends jump in here. We're starting a little bit earlier than we normally do. But that's because me and Rich are in the Eastern time zone and we need our sleep. We need our sleep. But we love doing this. We do normal jobs as well. So we fit this podcast in when we can.
Unfortunately.
Because we love it.
Have regular jobs.
We love all of y'all listening. And we got plenty to talk about. So we're not going to miss an episode. So before we really get into everything, the meat and potatoes of this episode, Rich, I came across a really fun thing on social media today. A really cool question from Bleacher Report Open Ice. It's a really good account if you're a hockey fan to follow. They always put out really good thoughts and questions and videos. They put out a question, and it was, I'm going to share it on the screen if I can get it on there. It was name your goalie. Name a goalie was name a random goalie.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. Random
and
goalie.
You think about it from a Preds perspective. Okay, well, we have been blessed with so many great goalies in our history.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't stop with Pecorine and UC Saros. If you're a longtime follower of this franchise, come on. It doesn't stop with those two guys. So it kind of posed a really tough question. So I'm going to throw this guy on there. Oh, Snarky Squeegee's on here. What's
CJ.
up, buddy? CJ. Magnus Hellberg. All right. CJ, you better not cheat. If you're watching on YouTube, he's watching on YouTube. Let's see if he's still watching. I'm going to throw this guy on the screen. First of all, Rich, I'm going to ask you first. Who would you have guessed? You already know the answer, but
I do know. I had no. I would have had to have cheated. Yeah. Looking at that jersey, I know that that's before my time. So
there you go. Hey, at least you're like doing that's how trivia works. Sometimes you don't know the answer, but you got to like deductive reasoning is what they call it. You got to break everything down. That's what the art of trivia is. All right, CJ, we're waiting for your answer, bud. Give us in a little bit. If you're not cheating right now, you get the jersey number. You get the era because you're seeing the Preds jersey and you know when they wore these jerseys. But it was a tough one. We threw it on our Twitter profile thanks to BR Open Ice, who originally tweeted the question of name a random goalie.
Mm-hmm.
We got some really good responses on Twitter, a few of them that were really awesome that I appreciated. Some good guesses.
That's perfect. I'm share. You can't see his face.
Oh, yeah. There's no way to know. He looks like any generic goalie.
Right.
Any generic goalie. All right. So,
CJ
one of the
said
spelling.
Mazanek. I don't know who that is either.
That was Peter Mazanek, I think was his name. Nope, it's not. It's not.
No.
That's a good guess, though. And we know that CJ is not cheating because that is wrong. All right, so we got some other good guesses.
Cheating's wrong.
From Michael B on Twitter, he guessed Chris Mason. That was a good guess, but no. We had Red Racer on Twitter, guessed Anders Lindback, who is a longtime Milwaukee Admirals goalie.
There you go.
Original draft pick. And guess who? We had two winners. We had two people guess the right answer.
It was not
Devin Dubnyk.
There you go.
Devin Dubnyk. We had Acuna MVP season. That's Ronald Acuna of the Atlanta Braves home run hitter. So we got a lot of Braves fans in Atlanta. So in Nashville too. So Acuna MVP season on Twitter. Guessed Dubnyk. And then also Raycon Hockney.
Wow.
Guessed Dubnyk. And they both guessed around the same time. Actually, Raycon Hockney guessed 2 minutes before the other person. So we had two Dubnyk winners. We're going to declare them both winners. Awesome work there because I would not have gotten that right. I'll be totally honest.
No. I would have said Chris Mason maybe, but I don't know. So hi, Lindsay. Lindsay's in here. What's up? The great.
So I'm going to share another. So to piggyback on that, we are very blessed. We are very blessed as Preds fans of having not that many goalies in the history of this franchise. So 1998, we know when the franchise started, 24 seasons or whatnot. 17 goalies dating back to Yaroslav Askarov, who made his NHL debut this past season. I'm going to share this list on the screen. It's a little small. Apologies for that. But
Valkun, Saros.
So you look at it. Pecorine, 683 games.
Yep.
Tomas Vokoun was the first great goalie for the Preds, of course. UC Saros. Mike Dunham was actually the first before Thomas Vokoun. Where's Johnny when you need him? Johnny,
Oh, no,
need you in
man.
this live chat
He
right
would
now.
have. He probably knew who the goaltender was.
Oh, he would have gotten it right for sure. He
Yeah,
would have gotten it
for
right.
sure.
Johnny would have absolutely gotten it right in the first 30 seconds. But you got
Mhm.
Mike Dunham. We've got Dan Ellis. Dan Ellis was good in his time. I remember Dan Ellis. Carter Hutton, Anders Lindback, which was CJ's guess.
There you
Marek
go.
Mazinek, 31 games. Anders Lindback, we had a guess on that one. Look at Kevin Lankinen. He's already top 10 in games played in Preds franchise history.
Doesn't take much in this this list.
Our buddy David Riddick, Lindsay, I know. Big save Dave. We got a bunch of guys I've never heard of after that.
Who's the one at the bottom?
Well, we got the Raycon logo kind of blocking it, but you know what? It's okay.
Oh, it's Yaroslav Askarov. I see it. One game. There you go.
Hold on.
Yeah. No, I see it. It's
so everyone can see it right there.
There we go.
We've got a bunch of guys we've never heard of. We got Eric. I don't even know how to pronounce that last name. Ficon.
You better be careful. You could say that wrong.
Yeah.
And make it sound dirty.
Connor Ingram in there. Devin Dubnyk. Brian Finley. So these years at the very on the left-hand side are when they were born, by the way.
Yeah.
So you've got Eric. I don't remember that guy, but he was born in 1975. 0.895 save percentage in the National Hockey League in 9 games is still pretty damn good. I'm not talking any kind of crap about Eric, however you pronounce your last name. Eric F. Yes.
There you go.
Connor Ingram, 3 games played. You know, he got the short end of the stick here. The Preds kind of gave up on him a little bit. Devin Dubnyk, 2 games. 2 games for the Preds. That is a tough question. So I thought we did pretty good throwing out the random goalie question.
Oh, yeah.
By throwing out Devin Dubnyk.
Yep.
All right. So there you have it. That's how we're starting tonight's episode.
Justin said Lanky and Saros were born in the same hospital, 1995 babies.
What?
That's crazy.
All right.
They might have been buddies.
Thank you for that, Justin Gambino. That's the news we want to hear right there.
Yeah, it's the feel-good
All right.
stories.
So we're going to break down the NHL lottery results. It was a train wreck, but would you expect anything different from the NHL? I mean, come on. It's at this point, it's a comedy of errors. I mean, anytime they do any type of national broadcast where they try to be on ESPN and they want to have the whole spotlight on them, something always goes wrong.
Yeah. I remember the year when the Rangers a few years ago, remember the ping pong ball messed up or something, and everybody was freaking out. It's always something.
Well, apparently this time it was a teleprompter issue this time.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say. Yeah.
We'll go with that. All right. So we're going to break that down. The Preds get the 15th overall pick, which is where a lot of people expected them to be in the whole pre-draft order thing. The Preds did a little too much winning down the stretch.
Yep.
To be understood. So they fell all the way back to 0.5% odds. And if you remember or didn't know, in these complicated NHL draft lottery rules, they changed the format last year to the point where you can only jump up 10 spots from your pre-draft order position. So the Preds were already at 15th. They couldn't jump. The highest they could jump was 5th, which would be a good spot to be in, but they had a 0.5% chance to even jump that high. So really, this was a big nothing burger for the Preds fans as far as watching the draft lottery. But we all wanted to see where Connor Bedard would end up. So.
Yeah, you always want to watch it. Did you see the article by Frank Saravelli? Did you see? He was there while they were drawing the ping pong balls out, and he said the Predators almost got moved up to number 5. They were really close, but it didn't.
That's crazy. Yeah,
They
you had
said
to
they
get
were-
you had to get a certain amount of ping pong balls to
Yep.
land in a certain combination, basically.
Yeah, I can't remember, something like that. But they drew out when they drew out the first ping pong. I don't remember how it went, but like Vancouver got knocked out, and like some other teams. And then like they said, if one of the ping pong balls would have came out like number 7 or something, Predators would have moved up to number 5.
So how about this? There were all kind of debacles going on here, Rich. If you want to like see, like our buddy Tom Franklin, who covers the St. Louis Blues.
Mm-hmm.
How about this?
Oh yeah, the
upside down Ducks logo. That's always fun, right?
Gosh, it's like look at it and then turn it around this way.
Hey everybody,
that is right, not flip it.
That is not Photoshop, people.
No, that's how it came out. That's how it came out.
So yeah, pretty bad. But hey, we've all made mistakes.
Yeah,
we make mistakes several times on this podcast every time we do it, so we get it. But at the same time, it's like, come on, you're one of the top 4 sports leagues in America. You have an ESPN deal. You had time to do this. Transparency, does that matter anymore? Like, I mean, it seemed like a hostage video to me. It felt so forced. It felt so awkward. It felt like almost no one even wanted to be there. There was nothing. And it kind of goes back to the NHL All-Star Weekend in Sunrise, Florida. That also felt very awkward and cringy. Yeah, cringy is a good word. So, I mean, if the NHL is going to keep growing in this younger demographic, which they are growing in that demographic, that's why they had the ESPN deal and they're on TNT now and all that stuff. They got to start doing better on some of these telecasts. And I want to say one thing else too. This is in no way criticizing Kevin Weeks. I love Kevin Weeks. He's one of my favorite national analysts of the NHL. Like, he is amazing. He's hilarious. He's one of my favorite follows on Twitter in terms of breaking hockey news and all that stuff. He was put in a really crappy situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so it turns out he revealed that the Columbus Blue Jackets moved back.
He did.
They were the first team to break the pre-draft order, and then it went to a commercial break, and it was just awkward after that.
But he had to know. So I know it was an accident, but like, you know, they would call who won the pick, who got the pick, and then he would have a fact about each one of the teams. Where they drafted.
Yeah.
So he knew who was coming up next. He had to have so he could have that fact ready or whatever. I think he just slipped up, man. People make mistakes. It's all good. But then everybody's like, it's rigged. And I read that article by Frank Saravelli, and he was there. I don't think he would lie because it's his journalistic integrity on the line. He said it's not rigged. It happened, the way it did. But that's a good point, Justin. Just pick the balls live. Well, they did that a few years ago, and everybody got ticked off about the Rangers pick, that thing. So then they take it away. They take that away. They try to do something different, and then everybody's like, "Oh, you're not letting us see what's happening behind the scenes." So now it's rigged. So they just can't win.
I honestly though, I get what you're saying, Rich, but you should definitely, if you're going to do a live telecast and make it like this, then you got to pick the balls live. If you're not going to pick the balls live, then just don't do a telecast. It's that simple. Right. Do a good old fashioned press release.
Well, yeah, you're right. And it's the NHL.
What was the point of a big grand telecast when it was, I mean, I watched it because
for sure.
I'm a hockey fan and I want to watch it, and that's how most hockey fans did it. They were like, okay, we're going to watch this. It was awful television. It was. You would have been better off just doing a mass press release and releasing it on the NHL Twitter account and letting everybody retweet it. Maybe put out a 4-minute video that everyone can retweet on Twitter. and just call it a day, because that ESPN Plus telecast was awful. And that's where you're trying to grow the audience, is on ESPN Plus right now.
Yeah, and that's something else about the NHL. Like, they need to hire somebody to like take care of their production value of their shows, because if you remember when they did the Seattle Kraken chose all of their the players when they did the expansion draft, that was bad. That was not good. And then the All-Star weekend, not great. And then they do the draft lottery this year, not great. And it's like you need to up your production value or something, because it's just it's not good. I mean, I'm gonna watch it. I'll watch it regardless, but it just, if you want to snag some more viewers who aren't necessarily hardcore hockey fans, you might want to make it a little more.
And that's what the NHL is trying to do right now, is they're trying to take that next step to at least be somewhat relevant when it comes to TV ratings as compared to the NBA, the NFL. They're never going to come close to the NBA or the NFL ever. No. But they need to grow a little bit at least. They're like a quarter of the ratings that the NBA playoffs are getting right now. A quarter.
Yep.
Basically. So you want to at least put a dent in that and grow a little bit. And they're trying. They're on ESPN and whatnot. And I think it's helped. I'm not saying their relationship with ESPN and TNT hasn't helped. I think it has. But it hasn't helped enough from what you would want to see if you're asking Gary Bettman to be honest right now, and he never is. But if you're asking him to be honest, I don't think ratings are growing like he would probably want it to be right now with the partnership.
Yeah, I would say it's probably not. It's just some of the games or when they call them, they're not good, and then these things like this happen, and it's just you need to fix that. Because the NBA, one player makes in a year what the entire salary cap of an NHL team is. And the only way to the players to get more money is to get more people watching. That's the only way it's going to happen.
We're going to talk more about the NHL Draft Lottery and the order that we now have for the first round. Now that the Draft Lottery is set, we still don't know what's going to happen after the lottery teams, because we have to wait for the playoffs to finish. But we do know how the top 16 picks will go, assuming there's not any trades, which, Rich, I'm going to throw an idea at you. Throw an idea at everybody. I don't think I'm the only one thinking this either. But I don't think the Preds should get too comfortable and too cozy at the 15th pick. But I'll explain that later. We're going to keep this theme of drafting alive in episode 184 of Catfish and Ice. I want to look back at some of the biggest draft steals in Preds history, because I hate to say this, but when you really look back in Preds draft history, they've got a lot of swing and misses in the first round, Rich. They do a lot of swing and misses. They've done a lot of their damage second round and back. If you're talking about franchise-changing players, second round and back. Now, obviously, we got some younger guys coming up right now that might change that narrative in the future. We can't say for sure yet, but I'm just going off of 2018 and back.
Yep. Yeah.
So we're going to look into that.
Definitely some swings and misses. Justin said Preds are the GOAT in the fourth round.
There you go. For sure.
Yeah. They sure are. Sure.
Also, the Milwaukee Admirals, a lot of those same players who were trying to push the Predators into the Stanley Cup playoffs are now playing heavy minutes for the Milwaukee Admirals. The Milwaukee Admirals, they are advancing to the next round of the Calder Cup playoffs of the AHL. They take out the Manitoba Moose. They had to win 2 games in a row in that series to win the series. Very exciting. Very exciting fun. Last game-winning goal that Spencer Stastny scored.
Yep. Yeah, that was a great goal. CJ, go Admirals. That's his team, man. He lives up there.
Yep, he knows all about that team. I would argue that he's a bigger fan of the Admirals than he is the Preds.
Oh,
I think he's a Preds fan by default.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. That'd be cool, though, to have an AHL team in your hometown.
Very cool. And it was, we're going to share the video later in this episode. The highlight clip of that game-winning goal. We'll share it live on this stream when we talk about that. But until we get to that, we are presented by Raycon wireless earbuds and speakers, promo code THPN. Also brought to you by DraftKings. Also with promo code THPN. We'll tell you more about those two amazing sponsors and the offers we have available for you with both of those amazing companies with our promo code THPN. All right, Rich, have the Kraken and the Stars dropped the puck yet? What's going on?
They have. It's 0-0.
All right, the last time we did this, it was like already 4-1 after we got through our intros.
It was. Yeah, it escalated quickly. They just showed Jamie Benn. Why does that dude not wear a visor? I don't understand that.
Well, you don't like Jamie Benn, so
I just don't understand why he doesn't.
That's one guy you've never been a fan of out of the Stars.
Yeah.
Look, I will be very surprised, and I'll come out eating humble pie tonight if the Stars don't tie this series.
They need to, because I was looking at the last game, Seattle, 7-2. They put a hurting on those guys. So I think Dallas is probably going to come out swinging. So as they do.
There you go. There you go. The Kraken are looking to take a 3-1 series lead on the Dallas Stars. We got the Canes that have just jumped ahead 3-1 series lead on the Devils. Last night's Stanley Cup playoff coverage, we had the Golden Knights beat the Oilers 5-1 to take a 2-1 series lead in that series. And then how about those poor Maple Leafs, Rich?
Oh, my gosh, man. Those guys.
Talk about a roller coaster. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions if you're a Leafs fan. You went from being on cloud nine, like nothing could go wrong. The world is an amazing place. You just knocked out the Tampa Bay Lightning, your kryptonite. You finally won a first-round series. You're seeing those plaza parties that they're showing every time the Leafs score a goal on the road. It's a cool scene. One of the most diehard fan bases in hockey. And now you're down 3-0 to one of the teams that was the last team to get into the playoff field.
Oh, gosh. I can't even. Florida just bugged me.
But I will say there is some solace if you're a Leafs fan here, because you're losing 3-0 to the same team that knocked out the Boston Bruins.
Mighty
so there's
Bruins.
that. There is that.
Yeah.
Maybe this Florida Panthers team is pretty damn good, and maybe they're just now starting to fire on all cylinders.
Yeah. And Toronto's goaltender is not going to play in the next game. Samsonov got hurt.
Yes.
Upper body injury. So they're starting his name's Wall, Woll, I believe. So that's bad news for them. That's bad news. So,
hey, the T word's out again.
I knew that was going to happen. Seattle's playing.
Tolvanen was first on the ice for the drop of the puck.
That's going to live in infamy.
Nikki says, I never believe anything until I see it with Dallas. I'm hoping they can tie it up. So we're going to dive into a really fun topic here in relation to the Stanley Cup playoffs and all the teams that are still technically alive in this playoff bracket right now in the second round of the playoffs. Here's my question for everybody, including our live listeners right now. I want you to chime in as well. There it is at the bottom of the screen. What's the Stanley Cup final matchup that you want to see for personal reasons? And what is the Stanley Cup final that the NHL should want to see for pure ratings purposes, for all of that stuff? Rich, I'm going to ask you first, and then I'll give you mine. We'll share some comments as we get them. I got a lot of comments on Twitter that I'll share as well. But I want to get your first, Rich, give me what you want to see. Not by prediction, not what you predicted, just what you want to see.
Well, I wanted to see the Boston Bruins.
No, that doesn't count anymore, buddy.
Oh, you know. So we're going with the teams now?
I'm going with teams right now that are still alive.
Who do I want to see? I would like to see Toronto do some kind of miracle. And I would like
that would be a miracle. That would be.
I would like to see Toronto and Seattle.
Okay. Toronto, Seattle.
Seattle. Ratings now. Who would the NHL want? Edmonton.
Can I say something real quick before you move on?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I think the NHL is in a really good position here. There are so many good storylines with a lot of teams that are still alive right now.
Yep.
And I'll give you I'll kind of preface my answer on that. But you say Edmonton, which is that's an obvious choice.
So the final that they would want to see Edmonton and Toronto. They would want to see Toronto. I believe. I think the NHL headquarters are up there. Original
two Canadian teams going at it. Of course, makes total sense.
Yeah, I mean it would be good for ratings. Especially in
two
Canada.
Rosters with star-studded talent. Connor McDavid versus Austin Matthews.
Two of the highest paid players in the NHL.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment on what the NHL would want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's what I want to see. Not based off what I predicted. So I predicted going into the playoffs in a couple episodes ago on Catfish and Ice when we did a Stanley Cup playoffs preview. I kind of changed my preseason prediction a little bit, and I took the Avalanche out before the playoffs, so give me a little credit there, Rich.
Yeah, that's good.
I jumped ship on the Avalanche before the playoffs started.
Mm-hmm.
They were my preseason pick to make the Cup.
Yep, I
for
remember.
the West, and I jumped ship on them, and I jumped on the bandwagon of the Dallas Stars, which they are still alive.
That's right.
And then I stuck with my preseason pick of the Carolina Hurricanes to win it all, which I'm feeling good about that one. So I'm not going to change all that. But here's what I want to see, just purely off enjoyment, what I think would be fun. I would like, just off of fun factor, I got to go Oilers. That'll be must watch for me. I want to see how Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl play and finally get to play in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Oilers for what I want to see. And in the East, I'm going to go Panthers.
Wow. Not Carolina?
I love underdog stories. I love watching teams that no one gave a chance to do what they're doing. How cool of a storyline would that be to talk about the Panthers, a team that people were burying down the stretch of the regular season when it looked like they probably weren't going to make the playoffs? Everyone was saying this Panthers team is such a disaster. They go out and they trade for Matthew Tkachuk. They have all this offensive talent and whatnot, and they're going to miss the playoffs. I read article after article saying this team is the biggest disappointment in the NHL. And I remember when the Preds beat Florida right before the trade deadline. I was at that game in person. And I talked to some of the fans at that game, and they were very, very disappointed in their hometown team. They were like, wow, this season is a complete abomination. We are so upset with how this season has gone. We had high expectations. This team finally rallies. They sneak into the playoffs. They draw the Boston Bruins. Everyone thought they would probably be swept. Maybe they get lucky and win one game.
That's what I thought.
I don't know. I love a really good underdog story. So give me for what I want to see at this point, give me Panthers in the East and give me the Oilers in the West. I think that'd be a fun series. I'd love to see Matthew Tkachuk go up against Connor McDavid and company. I'm a big Matthew Tkachuk guy. I like watching the guy play. That's where I'm at with it. So Panthers, Oilers.
Not a fan.
Here's what I think the NHL wants to see, though. I definitely think you have to say they want the Oilers.
Oh, yeah.
They want the game's best player to be in a cup final, finally, because they want to market the crap out of that.
Oh, yeah.
You can't blame them.
Yeah.
If you're Gary Bettman, you want that.
Yeah, and TNT is doing the Stanley Cup final, and they've got Wayne Gretzky on there. You know, getting the Oilers in there, that it writes itself. Like it'd be perfect for them. There would be so many things. You know, Wayne Gretzky talking about the Oilers and stuff. It would be just a match made in heaven for them.
If I'm running the NHL right now and I'm all focused on TV ratings and what can get the most eyeballs and make this the most watched Stanley Cup final in NHL history, then at this point with the teams I got to choose from. Yeah, Rich, I think Maple Leafs is a good pick, but let's be realistic here.
Don't think
a Canes Oilers Stanley Cup final. I know the Canes are not in a really big market, but anyone who watches hockey, even casually, knows how fun and entertaining the Carolina Hurricanes are to watch.
And the cameraman would have trouble keeping up because that would be a very fast game. Very fast.
Absolutely. Give me Oilers versus Canes. I'm all for it. I will not miss a minute of that series if I can make it happen. Yeah. That's what I'm on board for. I think that's what the NHL wants to see. Again, I'm all about the underdog story, so it'd be really cool for me personally if the Panthers made it. Think that there's a lot of potentially great matchups still available. How cool would it be to see Seattle take on Vegas in the Western Conference Finals? You're talking about the two most recent expansion teams facing each other in a conference finals. That's pretty cool as well. So I don't want to see Vegas in the finals, though. I do not.
No.
Do not.
No. I don't want to see Florida in the final. So,
well, there you have it. I mean, New Jersey Devils are another great story. If they can somehow pull off a miraculous effort and win the next 3 games and knock out the Canes, that would be a great story as well. The NHL has a lot of intriguing matchups, but to get the most eyeballs and the most ratings, I think Canes and Oilers is what they should hope for.
Yep. I agree.
Lindsay says, give me Kraken versus Panthers, the 2 underdogs. I like that.
That is good.
Calgary fans are kind of not so sweet on him. Yeah, we're talking about Matthew Tkachuk, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Our buddy Max Greenberg's in here. What's up, Max? He says Edmonton versus Carolina rematch is actually what I want to see.
That would be good.
Evander Kane versus Tkachuk, pure chaos.
Oh, yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
And that's Justin crazy. Gambino says, Panthers run so far feels sort of like the Kings or Preds run. For sure.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that. There you have it. Also, Go Tolvie.
CJ.
Go Tolvie.
CJ. Come on.
There you go. All right. So, the Chicago Blackhawks gain the number 1 pick. Unless a meteor strikes the earth, they're going to take Connor Bedard in Nashville. And are we going to go ahead and block the city limits off from anyone with a Chicago registration? Because I don't know if you already saw, Rich, but they have already exploded ticket sales.
That's what I was getting ready to bring up. Yeah, I just saw before the Devils game, 5.2 million since the draft announcement, the lottery.
Well, that's the type of player Connor Bedard is. I mean, this kid is literally franchise changing. He is the real deal. Does it scare me a little bit for his sake that maybe they're putting too much pressure on him? Maybe, but I mean, he has been having articles written about him since he was 12 years old.
Yeah, he might be able to be used to it and can take it. So it just depends.
He's 17 now. He's about to be 18. He's been the forefront of Canadian junior hockey for years now. He is the whole package. He carries himself like he is a 3-year NHL pro. Have you seen some of the interviews he does?
Yeah.
You would never, ever guess in a million years this kid is 17 years old. He carries himself with so much maturity.
Good man.
And that's why I think he is set up to handle this kind of pressure that he's up against. Connor McDavid type of pressure.
Yeah. I haven't been keeping up with where else, like all the other draft picks that Chicago has. I know, they're going to need some folks around him as well.
For sure. Everyone's freaking out, including myself. Everyone's freaking out that suddenly the Chicago Blackhawks are going to be magically transformed into some Stanley Cup contender. The Chicago Blackhawks are a mess.
They were bad.
Now, Connor Bedard helps a ton, and he is going to win them some games next year. And he's going to be the centerpiece of that franchise for probably at least the next decade.
Yep.
Most likely.
Yep.
So if you're a Chicago Blackhawks fan right now, you should have every right to be partying in the street and be jumping up for joy. Don't blame you a bit. But that roster needs a lot of help, and it's not going to be fixed just by Connor Bedard. I saw some talk about let's bring Patrick Kane back.
Yep.
He's a free agent.
He made it sound like
he was
did not want to go back to New York. He said something about, they'll be fine in the long run. He didn't say we'll be fine or we'll get it together or whatever, but that's crazy. That's crazy. If they got him back, maybe that was their whole plan all along. Who knows?
I mean, if you're Patrick Kane, I'm just saying from his perspective, put yourself in his shoes. You're a free agent. You played your entire career for the Chicago Blackhawks. Yeah, you might have said that you'd never want to go back or whatever, but you get a chance to end your career, your Hall of Fame career, playing with Connor Bedard, who could, quite frankly, be as close to Wayne Gretzky when it's all said and done as you can get. We don't know yet, but he's definitely got that caliber to him. Yep. It'd be hard to say no to that if you're Patrick Kane.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Maybe that was their plan all along. Who knows? We'll never know. But they will definitely need to get a supporting cast because, like you said, they were bad. They did have a couple of stretches there where they won some games and people were kind of like, oh, look at them making a little bit of a splash, but in the end it went south. So they're gonna have to do something.
We'll see what happens there. The Predators get the 15th pick. I'm about to tell you why I think it's a really good idea for the Predators to trade up into the top 10. Before we do that, let's tell you about DraftKings with our promo code THPN. Light the lamp during the hockey playoffs with the DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can make a $5 bet and score $150 in bonus bets instantly. We're mentioning all the odds right now when it comes to the Stanley Cup playoffs. We just talked about some matchups we really want to see and all this stuff. And right now, we're watching. We got to think about the series that's the closest right now. We got some 3-1 series leads right now, Rich. But right now, we got to think about that Golden Knights Oilers series right now, Rich.
Yeah,
it's 2-1. It's 2-1. So game four is coming up
tomorrow.
Can the Oilers tie that series? What are you thinking there? That's a really good DraftKings bet for people to make right now. That's the game you're looking for. If you're really thinking about getting in on DraftKings with our promo code THPN, we're talking Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights game 4. How are you feeling? Do you think the Oilers can tie that series, Rich?
I think they are going to come out guns blazing after losing 5-1 the other day. So I feel pretty good that they'll come back. They're so close.
Right now, according to DraftKings, the latest odds, the Oilers are slight underdogs. Plus 130 odds for the Oilers. If you want to throw down a bet on the Oilers, Vegas Golden Knights are minus 150. So they're the slight favorites. Over under 7 goals scored right there. So there's where you have it on the spread of +1.5 for the Vegas Golden Knights. So they've got them as a slight favorite over the Oilers in Game 4. If I was betting, not giving betting advice here, but if I was going to bet this game with our promo code, I would be all over the Oilers. But that's just me.
Yeah.
But we will see. But that's how you can have fun with our promo code THPN. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code THPN. New customers can make a $5 hockey playoff bet and score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelpline.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. I don't know if I know anyone in Kansas, but if I do know you, that's the number you call. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 and up in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for offer details. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling sources. So we got that promo code running for you through the Stanley Cup playoffs. Take advantage of it now with our promo code THPN. All right, so I'm about to tell you guys about my very, very strong belief here that I think the Predators should seriously consider trading up into the top 10 of the draft. They get the 15th pick. It's not a bad place because I'm looking at this draft class. I've been really looking into it over the past couple weeks. Now that the offseason's here, the Preds aren't playing any more games. You get more time to look into the draft class and whatnot, look at these scouting reports that are out there and stuff. And 15, you can still get a really good player, obviously.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with picking number 15. But top 10 is juicy, Rich.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My thought is you got 13 draft picks. You sold heavy at the trade deadline to acquire a lot of this draft capital that you have.
Yep.
Let's cash in. Why not? Tell me why not.
I can't tell you why not because they should. You got to do it. You got to find somebody in that top 10 who needs some people, who wants they don't have any prospects, and get them some prospects who need them. And
Justin Gambino jumps in and says, St. Louis is 10th spot. Rest in peace, the moving to 10 dream. So it would have to be like 9 or 8.
So 9's Detroit, 8 is Washington Capitals.
Well, it's going to be all about finding a team that's looking to scoop up an extra draft pick somewhere and only moving back to number 15.
Yep.
So if you're trying to trade up to the top 10, if you're the Predators, my thoughts are, and it's not a guarantee, it might not work out, but my whole thought process is try to find a trade partner who is content with picking up an extra draft pick, whether it's a second round pick or whatever in a future draft, whatever, moving back to Nashville's 15th spot and allowing the Preds to move up to 9, 8, 7, wherever. That's kind of my thought process here, because the draft class is extremely, extremely talented, even after Connor Bedard, and I think we're kind of losing sight of that a little bit. If you take Connor Bedard out of this draft class, it's still an exceptionally great draft class. Yeah. Even if you take out Connor Bedard.
Yeah. I mean, if they're wanting to make a splash, they're definitely going to have to trade up.
Everyone's saying that we would have to trade a player to get into the top 10. I don't know about that. I'm not. I mean, you might be right, but All you got to do is find the right team. All you got to do is find the right team that isn't completely in love with a certain prospect, and they can move back.
Yeah. To get that extra pick. Philadelphia.
I think that's the whole reason you offer draft. That's the whole reason you acquire draft capital to begin with, is to try to maneuver. You're trying to give yourself leverage in a draft to move up. If they stick around at number 15, I'm thinking they should go defenseman, honestly, at that point, because a lot of your top end forwards are going to be off the board.
Yeah. Well, they do like picking the defensemen, so it should be pretty easy for them. But there's a new sheriff in town this year, so
because the prospect pipeline for the Preds is starting to get a little thin defensively.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, and you think about what transpired this past season, Spencer Stastny is going to be trying to make it to the NHL very, very soon. He's kind of like your next guy in line here to make the jump. But other than that, the pipeline's a little thin right now as far as NHL-ready talent. So I think that's where you got to start restocking. The only way that I think you move to the top 10 is if there's an offensive, instantly changing type of player that you can get. Yeah. So when I say I want the Predators to trade into the top 10, I'm not saying they should do it blindly and just do it without a game plan. There needs to be a prospect they absolutely want to move up to that spot. Sure. So it's going to be something that's going to have to be made in the moment when they're on the clock in that draft. It's not something you can say right now.
Yeah.
But as the draft unfolds, maybe a player or two slips further back that maybe is top 5 talent, but they fall back to 7 or 8 or 9. That's when you can wheel and deal a little bit. That's my thought process here. But obviously, I don't think the Preds should just blindly trade away picks to get to the top 10 if it's not a player that they're completely 100% sold on and it's a player they really want.
Yeah. Max Greenberg said Capitals are a bit short on draft picks in the next 2 years. Wouldn't surprise me if they're willing to trade down.
There you go. See,
I mean,
and it's one of those things. It's so hard to say right now if that's going to happen or not. It's going to happen throughout the draft. All I'm saying is keep an eye on Barry Trotz and David Poile because he is still the acting GM until July. Keep an eye on how they're going to be major players. They have a lot of chips to play with those 13 draft picks.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. CJ. Poor Cole Smith, man. Cole Smith man. Worth moving up 2 spots.
Maybe. I don't know. You could throw him in you could package him in somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. If they stick at 15th, though, there's still some good players. It's just, I think that they can play ball here and maybe move up.
Yeah, that would be awesome. It would be good to see them, even if it's 10th spot. I'd be okay with that, just to move up. But I doubt that. Like I think someone said earlier in the chat, St. Louis probably isn't going to want to play ball.
Probably not. We'll have to wait and see how it works. But I can promise you right now that David Poile is still the acting GM. He's working alongside Barry Trotz right now, who's going to be the new GM officially in July. They're thinking about this right now. I can promise you that they're thinking about this because you're hosting the draft. You are hosting the draft in Nashville. And I'm not saying that's the only reason why you should move to the top 10 and make some big splash in the draft is because you're hosting it. I'm just saying you got the draft capital. Maybe you even offer a player, an NHL starter. Not anyone too good, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like maybe offer someone. I don't know. I'm saying there's options here, and you got to think about it because that's the whole reason you acquired this draft capital to begin with. Because I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist to look back at draft history for the Preds or really any NHL team and to see that this is not a perfect science when you make draft picks. So you really think the Predators are going to use all 13 draft picks?
No,
they're not. They're not.
No. They will definitely use them. to move up.
You use them to move up and pick a player you really want, a franchise-changing type of player in the top 10. The hardest part is going to be finding a team that's willing to do that. And that's what some of our listeners are saying in the comments right now is you might have a hard time finding a team that's going to be willing to play ball with giving up a top 10 pick. And that might be true. I'm just saying the Preds need to do everything they can to make that happen if possible.
Yeah, for sure. So usually I haven't looked at the prospects yet for the draft, but I know Connor Bedard obviously is going to be playing next year. Usually it's like one, possibly two players go straight to the NHL. How many of the top 10 do you think?
I think there's
3, 4?
Several. There's several. Cool. So Adam Fantilli is the consensus number 2 pick behind Connor Bedard. He is a dominant centerman from the University of Michigan. He has just completely dominated the NCAA level, nearly a 2-point per game player as a freshman.
Wow.
He is probably going to go number 2 overall to the Anaheim Ducks. Pretty good consolation prize for not winning Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
You got Leo Carlson, who is another really good. He could also go number 2 maybe if we get a curveball. I'm not taking him out of the running to go number 2. But he is a two-way center with high odds to make a fast impact on the NHL level. Projected lock for a top 5 pick for sure. So Leo, you got 2 really good centermen who are locked in to go after Connor Bedard. Here is the very big curveball and X factor in how the draft is going to go immediately after Connor Bedard, and that's Matvei Michkov, the dynamic scoring winger out of Russia. He has top overall pick talent in a non-Connor Bedard draft. Here's what Michkov has going against him, and we all know this. Unfortunately, with the war in Ukraine and all this stuff that's going on in the world right now, it makes it very hesitant for NHL teams to draft someone like Michkov. If you take all of those outside circumstances out of the equation, Michkov's a top overall pick type of caliber player. Yeah. He is incredible. Watch his tape on YouTube. He is the type of player who can come onto a team and immediately score 20-plus goals in his rookie year. Easily. So Matvei Michkov, I'm really want to see how far he might fall. I don't think he's going to fall out of the top 10. He might fall out of the top 5, though. So he is not eligible to play in the NHL until 26-27. He's got a KHL contract through 2026-27. So when you draft these Russian players, a lot of times they have these KHL contracts. We know all about that with Yaroslav Askarov and Fedor Svechkov. So that's one of the things when you draft it. But there's so much talent that comes out of Russia and comes out of the KHL that you're willing to take that
risk. Yeah, for sure.
So we'll have to see how far Michkov falls. I don't think he's going to fall far enough back to get the Preds in play, because when I say I want the Preds to trade into the top 10, I'm thinking like 7, 8, 9. I don't think they can get in the top 5 most likely.
No,
so, and this is what Justin Gambino is just saying right here. If regards to Matvei Michkov, if he falls, you draft him. I think it's worth the risk. Yeah. So there you have it. I agree with Justin completely there. He is the type of player where if somehow there are some teams that don't want to draft him for all these outside circumstances, is that something the Preds would be willing to make a power move into the top 10 for, and wheel and deal with the team that maybe doesn't want to take that risk, and they're willing to move back to the 15th pick and also acquire an extra draft pick in the process? That's something you have to think about here.
Yep. Yeah, it's like Kimmel dropped. Everybody was surprised that Nashville got him. So maybe that'll happen with the Russian player.
You got another really good offensive weapon on the wing. Zachary Benson is another prospect that a lot of people should keep tabs on. He's another one that's going to go top 10, maybe top 5. He's another prospect that when I'm talking about trading up into the top 10, that's a prospect you would want to trade up into the top 10 to get. I'm just listing off players like that. If the Preds stick at number 15, you've got some realistic prospects here. You've got Ryan Leonard, a center on the U.S. development team. I don't think he falls to number 15. A lot of mock drafts have him going before number 15. But Ryan Leonard is a player, if he slips to number 15, you absolutely take him and you're happy and you're elated that you get him. You got Matthew Wood, a right wing out of the NCAA. He plays for the University of Connecticut. He is a very realistic option if you stay at number 15. Matthew Wood. And then I said earlier that I think that if the Predators stay at number 15, maybe they should just consider replenishing their defensive prospect pool. You've got David Rennbacher, defenseman out of Switzerland, one of the top defensive prospects in the draft. I think he's a very safe and conservative pick in this draft, and you need to start thinking about replenishing the defensive prospect pool. So keep that name in mind as well. David Rennbacher, one of the top, probably I would say he's the number 2 defensive prospect maybe out of all the draft classes I've looked at. It's a very wing center heavy draft class at the top. But if you stick at number 15 and David Rennbacher's around, take him. I'd be totally happy with it.
Absolutely. Do it.
We're going to do a full episode on the draft in the future, but we're just kind of giving you an appetizer here as we just come out of the draft lottery and we found out that the Preds are sitting at the number 15 pick. We've got Justin Gambino. He's bringing the heat tonight. He's bringing some good stuff. Man.
He's got lots of good comments.
He says, did you see Craig Button's mock draft? He had a solid winger for the Preds that is going to Boston. Will play the same line with Will Smith and just broke Matthews' record, Gay Peralt. All right. I've heard that name too. Yeah, I have heard that name. It's a really good draft class. I mean, if you're at number 15, the Preds can still get a really great player. Yeah. But the difference between a great player and a generational type of player is the difference between staying at number 15 and maybe picking in the top 10. That's my only point there.
I agree.
Justin also says, are you going to the draft? Yes, I am 99% sure I will be at the draft, Justin.
Sweet.
I'm planning a 5-day road trip from the Tampa area. It's about a 10-hour drive. Judging on how bad Atlanta is, it might take me 11 hours. Atlanta is the X factor. Atlanta can take 3 hours to get past.
Drive around Atlanta.
If you drive around Atlanta, you're adding 2 hours to your drive right off the rip. So you're kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
That's true.
You can either drive through Alabama and go all the way around and you add yourself 2 extra hours, or you can just deal with Atlanta.
Yeah.
But here's my plan. My master plan is I want to do a 5-day road trip. I'm going to spend 2 nights in Savannah, Georgia. I've never been to Savannah.
Okay.
Which is criminal because it's such an amazing place. And I grew up in the South. How have I not been to Savannah yet? So I want to spend 2 nights in Savannah, Georgia to cut out a 10-hour drive and then make the final drive to Nashville for 3 nights and then spend my 6th day driving back home because I'll have to go back to work.
Yep.
So that's my plan.
You can go to Macon, Georgia.
Hey, there's a lot of good stops in Georgia. I'll figure it out. But I'm thinking Savannah. But either way, I'm going to be at the draft. I will not miss that for anything.
We stayed in Macon when we went to Universal. Went to the Allman Brothers Museum in Macon. It was cool.
That sounds
it was awesome. The museum's in a house that they lived in, so they got all the cool stuff in there. It was fun. So, but Savannah's probably nice too. I've never been to Savannah, so.
All right, so here's how we're going to wrap up our NHL Draft Lottery recap here. What does Connor Bedard mean to the NHL and to the Blackhawks?
A lot. Expert analysis. A lot.
How big of a difference is Connor Bedard to the Blackhawks than it would have been if he went to the Blue Jackets or the Ducks? How about that?
With how
which is why everyone's saying this is rigged right now, by the way.
Yeah, with how Chicago ended their season and how awful they were. They lost Kane and Jonathan Taves. It means a lot. They're probably wishing he could play tomorrow. So they're excited. They have every right to be excited. I think it's cool.
Oh, by the way, Nikki drops in. She says it takes much longer if you're on horseback, like The Walking Dead.
That's right.
Hey, The Walking Dead. I watched The Walking Dead from when it premiered on television. I was the biggest Walking Dead fanatic.
I was too.
On AMC when it first came out. I watched every episode. I watched it all the way up through. I watched it through the Negan when Negan came into the fray. I jumped off ship and I could not watch it anymore after Negan got captured and they did the whisper. What are they called? The Whisperers or something?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think so. Something like that. That's about when I dropped off too.
Like all good shows, it ran its course and it got too hard to watch. But old school Walking Dead, I could still watch episode 1 like it's a new movie for
stuff.
me. Like it was such great TV. It was scary. I think my favorite season of Walking Dead was when they were in the prison, for sure. When they're in the prison and they come they come down with that illness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was such good television. It was great.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was funny. Like you watched the first season and the way that the zombies. Remember when Rick was in the tank? Remember, like in the very first episode, he was stuck in the tank.
Oh yeah. I'm getting chills to think about it, man.
So like the zombies, like in later seasons, they just walk into things. They don't do.
They're so dumb. Yeah,
they're dumb. Well, in that episode, they were actually climbing up on the tank. One of them was trying to get the lid open, and it's like that's not how that works, people. It's not how that works.
Yeah. But like the early seasons of Walking Dead were actually horror. Like they were scary.
Oh yeah.
And they were hard to watch. Like there would be episodes where I didn't know if I was going to be able to get through it because it was so emotionally draining.
Yep.
There were like you remember the episode with Carol with the 2 children and they have to kill the kids?
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying it's for the faint of heart and it's for everybody, but that was like peak. That was peak Walking Dead though, because you were like, I'm getting chills to think about it. You were watching it thinking, wow, if this ever happened to me, and you were in that situation. Yeah. And then like all good TV series, it eventually just went downhill and it got to where it was hard to watch. But thank you for the Walking Dead reference.
Yes.
By the way, did anyone ever watch Fear of the Walking Dead, the spinoff?
I watched like 5 episodes and it was dumb. I didn't like it. I quit watching it.
Yeah, the Grove. Oh, Nikki says that was the Grove. Yeah, that was the name of the episode. Yeah, that was probably the hardest episode to watch.
The one where with Carol's daughter. Remember, she got turned into a zombie. Yeah, that was rough too.
That one, and then of course when Glenn just gets a bat in his skull. I mean, his eyeball pops out. I mean, literally So I remember reading a couple articles where apparently after that episode aired, The Walking Dead and all that, like they got the people who produced the episode and the writers got like a stern letter saying, you guys got to tone it down a little bit here.
It was rough. It was
very rough.
I
mean, you're talking about on cable television on AMC, a guy's eyeball like pops out of his head. But
Nikki said it was worse in the graphic novel. I haven't read that one, but I did see the pictures of it in the comic book, and it was bad, very very bad. Yeah, not pretty.
All right,
good show.
Let's hope that the Preds aren't the Walking Dead.
Yes,
in 2023-24. Where's the drum solo in the background when you need it?
You need the dum.
Yeah. All right. Let's hope the Preds aren't the Walking Dead. Yep. All right. So we're about to move on here. Giving you a little draft coverage here. Let's see what's going on here in.
I think it's 1-0
playoffs. 1-0 Stars. All right. Here we go.
Jamie Benn scored a goal. Yep. One of the players had like a really ugly face.
Ottinger's only had to face 5 shots tonight.
Yeah.
In the first period. A lot of hockey left though, people. The Kraken are one of those teams where they're not an offensive juggernaut per se. But can I say something about the Kraken real quick before we move on?
Yep.
And I might be jinxing him here when I say this, but wow, Philip Grubauer, he has impressed me.
Yeah.
He was kind of damaged goods coming out of Colorado and coming to the Kraken. And the way he has played for them in these playoffs, I know he's given up a goal tonight, but he has been pretty damn good considering what he came from.
Yep. Yeah, he has been good. And good for him. I'm glad that he's still playing well. I like him. So
he's kind of getting a little bit of a resurrection here because, I mean, Grubauer was considered one of the top goalies in the league when he was with Carolina or when he was with Colorado for a little bit. But he kind of went through a rough patch and he had to go to Seattle and kind of remake himself. And now he's playing some really big minutes here. Let's see if he can finish strong and keep the Kraken in striking distance of this game. Stars are up 1-0. First intermission here in Game 4 with the Seattle Kraken leading the series 2-1. That game's being played in Seattle right now. If you go back to Dallas, tie 2-2, I give all the momentum back to Dallas here. So this is a series-changing type of game here, this Game 4.
Absolutely. Did you see Miro Heiskanen got hit in the face with a puck? He's got a big, nasty cut, like right by his nose. It's ugly. It's in the last game, I believe. So,
it's been a brutal series. The Stars, man, they've been coming out of that Minnesota series and how physical that was.
Yeah.
I don't think the Kraken series has been quite as testy and nasty as that Minnesota series, but it's still a really, I mean, it's, and then you get out of this series, you're going to either Edmonton or Vegas. It's just, there's nothing easy in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Nothing comes easy.
Nothing easy for sure.
We're about to talk about, we got a couple more things in episode 184. Thank you for joining us here on Catfish on Ice with Chad Minton and Rich Howe. As we just talked about the NHL Draft Lottery results, we talked about what's going on in the playoffs. Connor Bedard is likely going to be the next member of the Chicago Blackhawks in the NHL Draft. They're going to take him number 1 overall. We are about to talk about some of the biggest draft steals in Nashville Predators history and go back down memory lane and maybe look at what the Predators have done in past drafts and stuff like that to get you kind of set for the NHL 2023 draft, which is going to be in Nashville in just a few weeks, June 28th.
It's crazy.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before we get to that, we're going to tell you about our next sponsor. That is Raycon. They've jumped back on board with us. We appreciate them. Raycon wireless earbuds and speakers, a great company and outstanding product that doesn't break the bank. If you haven't heard of Raycon, we're telling you about them right now. Let's face it, with coffee starting at $5, even without any customizations, and our bank account somehow always depleting, we are officially entering a dupe session. Most products do the same thing but are priced differently, solely based on the brand name. So a good duplicate or dupe is crucial for getting the highest quality at the best price. One dupe you definitely shouldn't sleep on, Raycon wireless earbuds. So that's your duplicate. You got all these high-priced brand name earbuds out there that break the bank. Raycon is here for you. Raycon is premium audio at the perfect price point, so you can listen to what you want, when you want, without breaking the bank. So, I mean, we all need some good earbuds out there. We all need it. We all want to spend less on it, though. Current inflation, recession worries, they're easily replaceable if lost. You got warranty. You might be an audio newbie and not want to spend a ton on your first pair. Yeah, some people have been doing the wired earbuds for so long. Well, I got news for you. A lot of the new smartphones don't even have the port anymore. So you got to upgrade to the wireless earbuds, but you don't want to break the bank, and I don't blame you. That's why Raycon is here for you. Raycon's mission is to prove that you shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg for quality sound and essential smart tech listening features. You can get a pair and a spare and still pay less than you would with some of those other more big name tech brands out there. Raycon knows that in this economy, every purchase needs to be perfect. They offer buy now, pay later options. Right now, you can pay as low as $18 at checkout. They have an easy and free return guarantee. They offer 2 years of product protection insurance for just a few bucks. If you're like me, I'm always breaking stuff. I'm always losing stuff. Yeah, so I need that. I need that 2 years of product protection, trust me. And I'm sure a lot of you listeners out there need the same thing. So that's
cheap
cool.
Insurance.
They offer free domestic shipping and flat fee international shipping. They have over 50,000 5-star reviews. I feel like that's a pretty good number right there. 50,000 5-star reviews. My favorite feature of many, but my favorite feature of the wireless earbuds are the tap functions. So you can just, as you're going, hands-free. If you're driving down the road, you don't got to go grab your cell phone. It's hands-free. You got to push mute. You got to hit skip, whatever it is, pause, whatever. You got the wireless tap functions. So that's what you got. So go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score 15% off. Buyraycon.com/THPN. You see it there on the screen there as well. Go take advantage of that offer while we got Raycon sponsoring the podcast.
Buy a pair. Buy 2 pair.
There you go.
Buy 3 pair.
Buy as many as you want. Hey, we got Mother's Day. We got Mother's Day coming up, everybody.
That's good. Yeah. Buy your
So
mom.
how about you? I mean, I know our moms deserve almost everything we could give them in the world.
And quality earbuds.
Mothers are the true heroes of this world.
Absolutely.
And let's give them some earbuds, some nice wireless earbuds. All right, so let's move on here. Let's talk about our biggest draft steals in Preds history. Got a lot of good comments. I put this question out there on Twitter earlier today because I wanted to really get a good thought process behind everybody here on how they felt about it. And it's a really open-ended discussion here. You can go a lot of different directions here when it comes to what do you think is a draft steal? Is a draft steal someone who's taken in the second round? Do you got to go back further in the draft to really say it's a big draft steal? That's kind of – so, Rich, how about you tell us maybe the first player that jumps to your mind that's a big draft steal in Preds history?
Well, I think the most recent is Kimmel.
Oh,
nobody could believe that they picked him up at 17.
Jumping away, you're jumping ahead here, though. I mean, do we? Oh, I'm not saying. I mean, no, everyone's saying it's a steal, so you're not wrong. You're not wrong in picking him. I'm just saying, like,
right to the.
Are we jumping the gun a little bit? We got to kind of wait.
I could have been, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. That's the one that comes to mind. That and a certain goaltender, but I'm sure is on the list as well. So,
all right.
Good pick.
So that's a good one. That is a good one. We got to wait and see how it pans out, though. We just don't know what's going to happen with Kimmel yet.
You're right.
But it's not a bad pick necessarily.
Yep. All
right. So here's my first one. My first one is Patrick Hornqvist from 2005. 7th round pick, 230th overall pick in the draft. I think Patrick Hornqvist went on to have himself a dandy of an NHL career, to be a 7th round pick, 216 career points with the Preds in 6 seasons. You get 6 seasons and 200-plus career points out of a 7th round pick. Mm-hmm. You will take that all day and twice on Sunday.
Absolutely.
23 game-winning goals, 35 power play goals, a plus 35 plus minus during his time with the Preds. He was a key piece to the team when they were trying to be a playoff contender and trying to win playoff series. Patrick Hornfist was the type of guy. I know it was before your time, Rich, of watching the Preds, but if you go back and watch highlights, Hornfist he was the prototypical crowd the goaltender, screen the goaltender, score those dirty, ugly, greasy rebound style goals. That was Patrick Hornfist. To get him in the 7th round in 2005, leading up to 2005, and Rich, I know you got their draft picks pulled up on your screen probably right now. Go back before 2005, Rich. And outside of David Legwand and one other guy I might mention here later, a lot of misses. The Preds didn't really have a lot of luck drafting in those early years of being an expansion team. They didn't. No. Patrick Hornfist was a major home run early in their drafting.
Yeah.
So he's going to kick off my list, Patrick Hornfist.
That's a good one. That's definitely a good one.
All right.
Just kind of flipping through. Yeah.
So we got some other people hopping in here. Johnny Hockey was drafted 104th in 2011 by the Flames, and then she has the frowny face. I'm sorry, Lindsay. I know that's hard.
That is hard.
That was a really hard offseason altogether for the Flames. I mean, it was. You got Matthew Tkachuk, and then you got Johnny Gaudreau, and Johnny Gaudreau was such a fan favorite.
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
But 104th overall, 2011. And to be the player he is now, that's a major draft steal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a good one.
Lindsay also says it's early, but Dustin Wolf is going to be a steal once he plays more than one game in the NHL, drafted 214th.
Yep. Wow. That's crazy. Crazy.
Right. Here's my next one. We're going 4 years later. And this is going to break the heart of some Preds fans that are watching right now, because this is still a little bit raw. The wound is still very, very raw. It hasn't healed. It has not healed over yet. Do you know where I'm going with this?
I do. I absolutely do.
How about our boy Matthias Ekholm?
Yeah,
drafted all the way back in 2009. 102nd overall pick, 4th round. 2009, it was that long ago. Like, seriously? Became one of the most underrated defensemen in the NHL. I will die on that hill. Yeah. He was. In his heyday, people did not talk enough about Matthias Ekholm around the league and what he did, what he accomplished, what he did.
They're talking about him now, though. That's for sure.
To get a 4th round pick, top 4 defenseman for the Preds for many years, 719 career games for the Preds. So if you can get over 700 games out of a 4th round pick, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
You'll take that all day. Just like I said about Hornfist before, same goes for Ekholm with this pick. You get over 700 games from a 4th round pick, 268 points, locker room leader, captain-like material, averaged nearly 22 minutes of ice time in his Preds career. You get that out of a 4th round pick. Yep. Huge steal.
They also picked up Craig Smith in the 4th round. Fan favorite.
Yep. You got to go with that as a steal as well. Actually, that might be worth being in the top 5. Honestly,
that's pretty good. Yeah.
You know my love for Smitty.
Yeah, everybody likes him.
I still will never forgive the Preds front office and David Poile for. I'm actually more angry at David Poile for letting go of Craig Smith than I am for Tolvanen. I know I'm in the minority there, but. Craig Smith
I would agree with that.
Craig Smith could have easily been re-signed that offseason for the amount of money he signed with Boston that year.
Yeah, it wasn't
kept him, and he would have made a huge difference that next year.
Yep. I miss him.
All right, here's one that's it's low-hanging fruit, but it's pretty easy. Roman Josi, second round, 38th pick in 2008.
I think that's panned out. That's panned out for
That worked
them.
out. Yeah.
That's
You get one of the
definitely
best
worked out.
defensemen in the league, and you wait till the second round to get him, 2008.
Yeah,
you end up getting a team captain out of your second round pick. It took a while. He was a gradual riser. He didn't just burst onto the NHL scene all at once. It took some time. Drafted all the way back in 2008, but once he started to hit his stride, and he's still very much in that peak now, there you have it. So you got to throw that in there. And then let's go with our two goalies here. Obviously, UC Saros, fourth round pick, 99th pick in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pecorine, we all know the story. Eighth round pick, doesn't even exist anymore.
Drafted on the just by looking at him in warmups. Didn't even play the game.
258th overall pick, 258 in 2004, and he gets a statue. How many 258th overall picks get statues?
Bronze statue right in front of Bridgestone Arena.
By the way, that statue is amazing, by the way.
It is. It's cool.
I cannot wait to see that when I go to the draft.
It's very cool. Yeah.
Still have not seen it in person. Some honorable mention steals. I got some honorable mentions. They wouldn't crack my top 5, but they're still good ones. Colton Sissons was taken in the second round, 50th overall pick in 2012. I think that's worth an honorable mention because you got yourself a bona fide bottom 6 depth center for years to come in the second round. Again, you will take that all day if you're drafting. If you're drafting as a general manager in the Hockey League, National Hockey League, and you can get a player like Colton Sissons in the second round that's going to give you that longevity, career, 54% face-off win percentage in his career, Colton Sissons. That is something we forget about.
On a not very large contract, and you get a lot out of him. Oh yeah, that's a good one for sure.
And then I'm going to throw Juuso Parssinen in there. I think he could actually crack the top 5 of this list when it's all said and done, only because he is also a 7th round pick in 2019. There's still a lot that needs to be written about Juuso Parssinen, obviously, but it's looking really good right now as a 7th round pick. And what he did this past season in quick order.
When you can score a between the legs goal and just shrug it off, awesome.
As a 7th round pick, pretty amazing. And then we can't leave out Shea Weber, 2nd round pick, 49th pick in 2003. He was probably, outside of David Legwand, I would say that Shea Weber is probably the next biggest pick in chronological order that the Preds made as far as franchise changing. David Legwand was the first ever draft pick in Preds history. Shea Weber came a few years after, but he ended up becoming a franchise changing player, of course. 49th pick in 2003 in the second round. Helped
mold Roman Josi into the player that he is.
Also on that same note, I got to share a poll here. Hold on. I asked a lot of our followers, who is the best first-round draft pick in Nashville Predators history? So I'm going to share it here on the screen. Poll results here. So over 200 votes. Coming in barely ahead of David Legwand, we got Ryan Ellis as the pick, as the best first-round draft pick in Nashville Predators history at almost 40% of the vote. David Legwand, picked in 1998 expansion year, gets a little over 37%. Scott Hartnell was a very strong player in his time, got picked in 2000, got 14.5%. Other is 8.4%. I'm going to read some of the comments I got below here. But one thing I got to say, Rich, and it pains me to say this, but the Predators do not have a great history, and you've got those draft picks on your screen probably there. Yep. They do not have a great track record of hitting on their first-round picks.
No.
They've had way more good fortune in the mid rounds and late rounds than they have with their first-round picks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gotten better, but still not great for sure.
Some of the comments I got here for other, so I knew there would be other. I know there'd be other. So Ray Perkin, if you're going off of longevity, something you definitely hope for from a draft pick, then Legwand is the guy. Glenn on Twitter says Ryan Suter. You gotta bring up Ryan Suter. Ryan Suter, Kevin Fiala. Kevin Fiala is another one you could have included in the poll. Kevin Fiala and David Legwand. Smashville's finest says Alexander Radulov. Here's why I can't vote for Alexander Radulov. You didn't hold on to him long term.
No,
they did not. If he would have stuck with the Predators for a long time, he'd easily be probably the winning choice on this list. But his time with the Predators was so short and so ugly. Yeah,
very ugly.
I cannot go with Alexander Radulov. No. Eric says one of their best draft picks was 20 years ago at the 2003 NHL Draft. 49th overall pick, defenseman Shea Weber. Okay, I said first-round picks, Eric, but that was a good pick.
Yeah.
Nashville Preds fan says Suter. So there you have it. A lot of Ryan Suter here. 86 to 97 to 13 on Twitter. What a draft or what a Twitter handle there. He or she says, "Are we just going to pretend Suter never happened?" Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Forget it.
And Red Racer responses and says, "Yes, we are. Yes, we are going to just forget that Ryan Suter ever happened."
Yep.
But sure. Interesting poll there. Ryan Ellis. Hope that guy's okay. I hate the way his career is.
I know. Like I read something a few weeks ago that he's still hurt and he might not be able to play ever again. That just sucks.
Between Ryan Ellis and Shea Weber, I mean,
yeah,
just two really bad endings for.
I feel like Ryan Ellis had a few more years in him though. Shea Weber is just like broken. The poor guy.
For sure, but interesting poll there. If I had to vote on that poll, I would say Ryan Ellis. Slightly over David Legwand. But it's tough either way. There have been some more talented first-round picks over the years, like Kevin Fiala, for instance, but they did not stick around with the team long enough for me to say that they were the best first-round draft picks. You got to stick with the franchise for a long time. So I think it comes down between Ryan Ellis and David Legwand for sure. And at that point, I would slightly lean towards Ryan Ellis.
CJ apparently we got nope coming back. Does that mean what's that mean? Is that Ryan Ellis?
I think he's talking about Ryan Ellis. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, good. I hope he does.
And we've got the Dallas Stars now up 3-0.
Yeah, we've apparently jinxed Grubauer.
The good old catfish on ice jinx. You can't ever deny that.
Seattle's challenging for goaltender interference. I mean, they might have a case.
All right, so here's how we're going to round out episode 184. We got to talk about CJ's favorite hockey team, the Milwaukee Admirals, who are advancing in the Calder Cup playoffs. First of all, I really, really love how the Admirals wear the Preds logo patch on their shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is cool. Yeah.
They're going to play the Texas Stars in the next round.
Yeah.
And it's really freaking cool to see some of these same players who are playing crucial minutes for the Predators are now playing crucial minutes for the Milwaukee Admirals.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see the Admirals struggled. I was kind of thinking they would just go in and dominate, but
and that is that's a very fair assessment, and that's kind of the overall thought process on it right now is definitely they should have probably should have handled the Manitoba Moose a little bit better. I thought it was kind of a coincidence and kind of funny that the Predator or the Admirals are playing the AHL affiliate of the team that finished ahead of them to make the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Winnipeg Jets.
That's
that's kind of like scripted perfectly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's funny.
But we're gonna share here for our live viewers, courtesy of the Milwaukee Admirals. Courtesy of the Milwaukee Admirals Twitter account. We're going to share the game winner, which was scored by Spencer Stastny. You got it on the screen there. We're going to play it for everybody.
And it was a beauty.
Let's watch this chaos that ensues here with the Manitoba Moose colliding with each other. All right. It is loading. Oh, we're getting the Wheel of Doom here.
Buffering.
Oh, you hate the buffering.
Yeah.
Well, while we wait on the Wheel of Doom, Spencer Stastny gets the game-winning goal. Zach Sanford, who also played a couple big games for the Preds. I mean, he didn't really pan out like we wanted him to. All right, we're going to push pause on that because we got the dreaded Wheel of Doom. But it was a pretty amazing goal.
Oh, it was very good.
And it was really cool to see the crowd so into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very exciting. Yeah, it was a pretty goal. He put it right on the tape. I think they scored with like 56 seconds left in the game or something like that.
Oh, less than 30 seconds.
Oh, was it? Oh, so it was 26. I thought I saw 56. So, yeah. Can't ask for anything better than that, man.
They had to win the last two games of the series because it's best of 5. They had to win the last 2 games of the series to actually advance. And like you said, a lot of people did expect him to possibly handle the Manitoba Moose a little bit easier.
Yep.
But it's okay. So now they get the Texas Stars, a much more talented and tougher test. And the way the Calder Cup playoffs work, it's interesting. You get to choose as the home team or the host team. You get to choose whether you want to play the first 2 games, the first 3 games at home, or you want to play the first 2 games on the road.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So Aaron Sims, who's the radio announcer for the Admirals, said that a lot of times the teams will choose to go on the road for the first 2 games of the series so that they can bank on stealing one of the first 2 games on the road, and then they get the last 3 games at home.
Yeah,
that's basically the whole thought process when it comes to the.
That's a good idea.
The HL playoff format, it's like kind of like confusing. Have you seen the bracket, how it works? Like
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't.
It'll make your head spin, man.
Wow.
All right, I'm trying to find a better video of this because I really want to share this, and I think it'd be a fun way to end episode 184. And we love our Milwaukee Admirals, and we want to show some love to them to close out. And it was such a beautiful goal. And first of all, I want to talk about Spencer Stastny too.
Oh yeah.
You got to think that he is going to have a really good chance to make the. All right, we're gonna see. It's working now, so we're gonna find out here if I can make this video work to close out episode 184. I'm sure a lot of people have already seen it.
A lot of the guys will have a good chance of making the team. It seems like.
All right, here we go.
There it goes.
Stewart will cut him off above the near circle. 34 seconds to play.
Whoa.
Oh, Stewart.
Whoops.
Guy, the Admirals 2-on-1. Sanford, right circle. Backhand. Score!
Wow.
Spencer Stastny! Spencer Stastny scores with
That was pretty.
26.8 to go.
Look at that crowd, man.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Two Moose players collided at center, and Spencer Stastny
Going
in
nuts.
his hometown. Hustling after Tomasino, but Stewart will cut him off.
But these two guys colliding, man.
Yeah.
And
Didn't they score their own goal?
Sanford, right circle. Backhand. Score!
What's that?
Didn't Manitoba score like on their own goal during they had pulled the goaltender for a power play, like a delayed penalty, and then scored hit in their own goal? I think they did.
I mean, maybe. It sounds like something that could happen. Definitely. Yeah. Lindsay says West Final, Ads versus Wranglers, ASCII versus Wolf, please. Oh, okay. There you go. That would be fun.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Nikki says good goal.
Oh,
what is this meh? What's meh? Meh.
I think he was – I don't know. I think it was
we don't know what he's in relation
I think it was Seattle challenging the goal. The goal that Dallas eventually was awarded. So then there was a fight now.
Jordan Gross ends up leading all scorers in that first series with 7 points in 5 games. 5 players on the Admirals end up with multiple goals in the series. Jordan Gross, Kiefer Sherwood, Luke Evangelista, Zach Sanford, and Rushkov, which I don't know a lot about him, but still cool. All right, so cool stuff from the Milwaukee Admirals to close out episode 184 of Catfish on Ice. We appreciate all of you hopping in. We had a lot of good comments on YouTube and on Twitter. We love y'all. Oh, now he wants to jump in. Now CJ wants to jump in. Oh, Admiral stuff. There he is. Masterfully late. I hope you didn't miss the beautiful game-winning goal.
No,
CJ, you're going to have to rewind. You're going to have to rewind in the stream here. We just shared the beauty of it after getting past the Wheel of Doom and the buffering. Finally shared. But we're going to let you go here, everybody. We appreciate it. This has been a fun episode 184 of Catfish and Ice. Please hit subscribe on YouTube.
Yes.
If you haven't already. And also hit us on a follow on @CatfishIce. We will follow you back. We'll always follow back, hockey fans. It looks like the Dallas Stars have jumped ahead 4-0, so they're cruising to tie this series at 2-2. So I feel pretty good about it now, considering the fact that I expected the Stars to give us a way better showing in this series than they have. They're going to tie the series up, so good on them. We'll see how that ends up finishing out. So we got some good hockey coming up here. We will see you next week for a new episode of Catfish and Ice. Stay safe, everybody. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Thank you to our sponsors, DraftKings and Raycon, with our promo codes. THB and Rich, have a good night, man.
You too, man.
Have a good night, everybody. We will see you next week. Take care.
Have a good one.